Hi guys, Vince here once again, and coming to you today with some video game related great news actually, for me especially. So Mountain Blade 2 is officially going to be playable at E3. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Mountain Blade, the series as a whole, just to give you a really quick sort of overview, Mountain Blade is effectively a hack and slash RPG game in which you can play as a lord or a pauper or anything in between, and you build up your own army, and you can buy your own horse and create these armies and buy castles and take over an entire fictional land. And there's a number of different countries involved that they have, and you can work with them and have relations with the lords, not sexual relations, normal relations. And yeah, it's a really good sort of fantasy medieval war simulator. And one thing, I'm a massive fan of it personally, and one of the things I was always a big fan of and I really appreciated, and I think very few other games have done even to this day, is the ability that Mountain Blade had to make the fighting in it feel very visceral. And so actually it's a very engrossing game. It's been built up over a long period of time. Believe it or not, I actually bought it in its initial I mean, I don't know how I would even put it, but the very basic initial form, which was effectively a beta, where you were given a code for the game, and I think I paid about £15, and it was about 60% done at the time, on the basis that, of course, that you're funding them to finish the game, and then you get a full copy for less, effectively. I've now put in over 100 hours on Steam for the original version. I'll show that up in a second. Yeah, it's definitely one I'm a big fan of. And if you're a big fan of the likes of the Elder Scrolls series, Legend of Zelda series to a lesser extent, or any big hack and slash RPG game, then I definitely recommend checking it out. And we've got a couple of quotes here just to really back that up by some of the senior members of staff there. So we have here Ali Erkin, Managing Director at Tell Worlds. So he says, "We are excited to see how attendees react to playing Bannerlord and receive feedback on the game. Putting the game in the hands of players represents another major milestone as we work towards a release." So that's Ali. He's the MD over at Tell Worlds. And we also have another quote from, hopefully I'm not butchering the pronunciation of his name here, but Armigan Yevots, CEO/founder of Tell Worlds. "Last year E3 was a tremendous success and learning experience for us as a company. This year we have a great hands-on demo lined up and are thrilled to be giving visitors their best ever look at Bannerlord." So I believe officially it's been called Mountain Blade Bannerlord and not Mountain Blade 2, but most people are referring to as Mountain Blade 2. So yeah, I mean that's it really. There's not too much more on this at the moment. In terms of an actual release date, they actually seem to be having a very much it's done when it's done attitude, which I always take as a positive, to be perfectly frank, because it means they don't have the gun at their back from the publishers to get it out there as soon as possible, and it will probably be a better game for it. Mountain Blade 1 is already a fantastic game, and from what I understand, Mountain Blade 2 is effectively a polished and bigger version of that. And from what I've seen with some of the footage, the graphics are looking really good. They're bringing catapults which you can activate and use and interact with for the castles, and it's a really good interactive siege simulator, one to which I don't think I've ever really found anything quite as good, to be perfectly frank, and one that I definitely recommend checking out. It should be available on Steam, and there's all sorts of different mods, major mods, which completely redesign the game you can get as well, which is why I've put in over 100 hours for the likes of Game of Thrones, Warhammer, which is the one I use. I put in at least 20 hours doing a campaign on that. I think there's also a Lord of the Rings one, if I'm not mistaken, a Star Wars one. So there's all sorts of crazy stuff. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, keep posted. We'll keep an eye out for this one, and hopefully I'm cautiously optimistic that maybe we'll see it in released form by the end of next year, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So don't forget to like and subscribe to see more video game related content right here. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments below if you're looking forward to this and what you want to see, and we'll see you again next time. Cheers.